Hello and welcome to another AAA Wargaming Battle Report. This is game two of the Art of War, and I was after I lost round one against Sam Freestone and his Infernal Dwarfs, but it was a good game, and I'd lost it 15-5. So in my next round, I was drawn against uh, Big Jim. So one of the people who were running the event, I'm pretty sure he either owns the location for Bristol Independent Wargaming or he's definitely part of the team there. So it was a good game. So this is Battle Report number 35 and Game of War, Art of War 5, Game 2. So it's against his Big Jim's Demon Legions. So let's have a look at it. So this one was Cancel Culture. So we'll look at deployment type first, and this was where um, you instead of it being 12 inches from center point, it was 10 inches away from the center, and characters could not be deployed within 18 inches of the short board edge. So all your characters are very much in the center, and that's relevant when you consider the scenario rules. So during step 7 of the deployment phase sequence, after Vanguard movements, but before rolling for first turn, both players take turns openly choosing 3 characters from the opponent's list, starting with the player that finished deploying first. If there are less than 3 characters in the army list, the opponent automatically chooses all characters instead. Characters currently not on the board for ambushing may still be chosen. Right, so, but there is an advantage to having less than 3 characters. So at the end of the game, the player that has the highest number of their chosen characters still alive wins the objective. So there is a benefit of starting with 3. So at least you've got you having 3 characters. So if you start with 2, you've got to kill one of theirs to even draw the objective. So this will be relevant in this game. So that was it. So looking at his list, look at that, 2 characters. So automatically I knew I was up on objective. So I had an advantage in this game. So I thought he's going to have to push at me, but he's got the Scourge with Living Shield, which is parry, I think. But either way, he's got more of a Khan who's an adept on evocation as his general with Iron Husk, so it's now res 6 and Living Shield, so I believe that's parry. And then he's got Vanandra Scourge. That was his only magic, so it was just 4 dice on one, 4 dice on the other. So I looked at it, which is evocation, so it was rerolls to hit and rerolls to wound. And I thought he's going to try and push at me. I'm going to have to work this one out. Okay. So that was my thought. He's then got 28 Myrmidons with Whipcrack Tails. I believe that's Lightning Reflexes. Something like that. And then Sekopo, Mesmerizing Plumage. They've got weird rules. +1 to wound, +1 to hit against standard height, I think. Something like that, or infantry. I'm not sure. But mesmerizing plumage as well. He's got a Hope Heart and Engine Damnation 9 Husk, so res 6. And this is the shooty one, so this is 2d6 +2 hit shots. And then it's +3 for every veil token up to a maximum of 3. So you're usually getting about between 17 and 20 shots odd, but it doesn't hit very well, especially against me with hard target and everything else. So I was pretty okay with that. He's got 2 Blazer Glories, one with fly, one with Brimstone Secretions, which didn't really matter this game. I don't know why, but it just didn't. And then he's got 3 Hoarders, at least there's only 3. So Res 5, 5 up pages, 4, yeah, something like that. But Res 5 with Mirror Scale, so anytime I roll a 1, it hits me with that attack, which could be quite annoying. And then a Titan Slayer Chariot. So looking at my list and thinking about this, so first off, I've got the objective in the bag. And then I was thinking, I'm going to have to deal with a Scourge flying around, so I was going to have to say maintain quite a lot of maneuver. I I didn't think that I'd be able to with deal with the Scourge just because it can fly around. It's very hard to stop, and with the Blazing Glory. So my thought was, I've just got to keep, whilst he's killing me, I've got to keep killing him and make sure that one of my things that I don't lose is my characters because I don't think I can kill Scourge, and I'm not convinced I can kill them all of a Khan either, just because of that 40 rebuilding. Sorry, I keep yawning. Sorry. That's my list, which you can see a review on the first battle report. Yeah, so do not lose a character and automatically win objective. That was basically my top plan. And then it's just use shooting magic to take points, and just try and maintain some disparity while the Scourge just takes the army away. And then the other part was just keep the Avatar away from the Scourge. So I think the Avatar can do a lot of damage here, especially against his Blazing Glories and more. But if his Scourge gets in, then it's game over. Not only do I draw the objective, but I lose a lot of points in that. I just don't think I win. Magic, I switched out in 20 routes for Stone Skin just because generally he's got quite high offensive skills. So I thought this is all a bit of lightning reflex. So I thought this wasn't point. There was no point in this, even though I wish I'd taken it for just that -2 to hit. Um, but yeah, it just didn't work out that way. And then I took, and then he just did Ancestral Aid and Spectrals. Ancestral Aid and Spectral Blade. So he's got 2 spells, but it's 4 or 4. And this was making me think that he's not going to want to sit off. He's going to want to come and get me. So deployment, right? So a bit of an odd field for me. So going from right to left as I'm looking at, so we had a big piece of impassable on this side. And that was my forest that I placed after we rolled. We've got 2 forests in the center here, and a hill, and there's a wall over on this side. I think there was also a wall over on this side. So what my thought was, I didn't get to. He won the sides, and he decided to deploy on that side, partly because of the impassable terrain there, and the use of the hill. So his plan was he could use the hill to aggressively move towards me if I was with my shooting. I declared to him that I was going to deploy. Well, I said originally I was going to scout both my pathfinders for this, and then we started to have a look at dropping. I decided that I didn't necessarily want to go first immediately. I wanted to see where some of his units were, and we were sharing drops. So I think I let him deploy the first one. I believe he put this chariot, his chariot down. I then put my heath hunters down. He put his hope harvester down, and I put one of my heath riders down there just to cover. I then put he then put his succubi down, and at that point I decided that he's probably going to start deploying into this corner, which I was a bit surprised at because I thought he'd be spread along the whole line here and just move forward at me, just so I couldn't dance around. At that point I decided to drop with the plan of pushing forward and just creating a line sort of from here all the way across here and use my scouts because I figured maybe he'll leave this open and just leave this on this side. So that was my thought process. So that's what I've got from left to right. I've got a unit of Heath Hunters, unit of Scoring Heath Riders, which don't really care about, unit of Wild Huntsman behind. So I thought if he's going to bring his Blazing Glories around here, I can just sort of mark them off and basically use this hill as soon as they get on there. I can counter charge. I've got an Avatar and the Dragon in the center, so they can go either way. I've got my Blade Dancers, both units of Dryads, and they're on this side just so they can slowly move around and cover that door. But also, I had the Dryads over here. If this Scourge starts coming around here, I'm quite happy if he charges there, and I just basically play the long game and get eaten slowly. And then I've got another unit of Heath Hunters over here, but I will Vanguard them across. As you can see, this is after Scouts and Vanguard. So what he did was he's got the Succubi, he's got both Blazing Glories there, he's got the Hope Harvester with this Titanselect Chariot, he's got his Myrmidons, and then he's got his 2 characters behind with the Hoarders on that side. I think what he was scared of is my Pathfinders just getting a load of lucky shots early doors, start taking some wounds off him. So what he's done is he's keep his units back to weather the storm first, which I was happy with. So as you can see, I've pushed up, as you can tell, all the way along here. What I probably should have done though is push the Wild Huntsman up further and just close this gap here so that I've properly guarded up here and just make sure that he has to stay behind the hill so I've got an easy charge. I think I don't know why I wasn't aggressive, but that's probably where I should have been. Otherwise, I'm starting to enclose here and just make sure that if these Myrmidons come forward, I can charge them. Whilst also if this Hope Harvester, if he doesn't support the Hope Harvester, the demons, I'm going to shove the Avatar so far up there to go and hit that and punch that Hope Harvester in the face. It's the one thing from range that can really start taking my units off. Otherwise, I've got the Pathfinders on the right, and I'm pretty happy. Turn 1, I just move further forward with my shooting, and I take off one of the Hoarders. Other than that, Magic's a bit of a fluff, doesn't really do anything. His turn 2, his turn 1, he doesn't declare any charges, and what he does is he backs up into that corner. We did have a discussion at this point because he was like, well, we're going to draw the objective. If I come out, I'll do it. And I did have to point out I did have to remind Big Jim that I was like, no, you're down on the objective. You've got to come and get me. Yeah, and we had a discussion about this, and he still decided this was the way to go, which was fine by me because, as you can see, it's pushed him back. I've got one of the Hoarders and one wound off them. I think over time I can take that U now, which is 300 points. You can see the Myrmidons starting to coming towards me, so I'm pretty happy with that. Between the Dryades, the Blade Dancers, and the Dragon there, I think I can easily kill that unit. And then that's 1,000 points right there. So I think that's going to be quite good. You can see on the left here, this is what I mean. So if I'd moved the Wild Huntsman here, he just would have had to stay all the way back here, and I could have made some easy charges with a Succubi, with the Blazing Glories. As you can, it just means that he wouldn't have had as much flexibility. I've given him too much space on this side to move up. In Magic, it's a bit of luck because nothing really matters. And then my turn, I kill a bit of a Hoarder off, so I think I kill another Hoarder off. You miss my turn too, pretty much. And other than that, nothing really happens. Demon Legions, turn 2. I've got that wrong. Okay, I'm miscounting all the way through. Right, so this is Demon Legion's turn 2. He decides to go for a charge, and he makes it. So he's decided to go for a charge there, and he's got the chariot in there. I can't remember why he was only there. I think we rectified that, and I said, you've got to be further across, really, haven't you? And I think we rectified that later. Otherwise, he pushes. He doesn't really push up. He keeps it at range. All he's done is brought his Hope Harvester up, and that's just to have a go at my Wild Huntsman, which again was a bit of a mistake on my behalf. Yeah, and that's where it goes. Otherwise, you can see he's bringing his Myrmidons off. His characters haven't changed much at the moment. They're still just defending his back line, worried about those Pathfinders coming in. And I think he's hoping that his Hope Harvester can start to take some points off with my Wild Huntsman. And you see it does, and it kills 4 of them, leaving 3 left. So I'm going to have to withdraw that unit. And it does mean now that my left flank is a bit open because I'm moving back with the Heath Riders. But I've got the Avatar there. I'm reasonably happy. But I can deal with that. As long as I can deal with the chariot in the center sooner rather than later, I'm happy with that. Right. So you know what I said? I think I chose +1 attack. I'd even brought my BSB in. He kills the entire back rank, so all 7 of them between impact hits and everything else. And I think that's even with 3+ Aegis. Yeah, something like that. It wasn't great. I stuck luckily, but that's his. All right, Finn. No, sorry. I stick because I lost the round. So he. Okay, sorry, my puppy is growling at me. I think he's sleep growling. Those were the armor saves. So we had 1 wound on him already because he'd hit the terrain. Oh yeah, there is that. That wood was really long. So he's hit the wood and he caused a DT. He had 3 wounds left, and we've got 4 saves. So I only do 1 wound to the bugger. So we've still got this chariot here, and my blade dancers have taken quite a few wounds, which is not great. So yeah, and that was on 3+ Aegis. So hopefully I'm going to have to hit him hard next turn and make sure I get him before he hits back at me. So there's a problem there. In my turn, what I start to do is I turn the Heath Riders around here just to give a bit of zoning here. Yes, they're not great, but they're still strength 5 on the charge. I probably should have just reformed them though, so that they're 2 more behind as well, just in case. But otherwise, they're okay. They're not too bad. As you can see, I've moved the Wild Huntsman back here, just to give them a bit on the left. Otherwise, as you can see, I've killed. This is the end of my turn. One thing I did do is charge the Dryads in a flank into the Hoarder here. Now, in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing, I could have kept backing up my Pathfinders and going after them. But what I wanted to do was hit them with the Dryads, turn around to draw the Scourge away, and then shoot the Myrmidons with my Pathfinders, which is what happens. So in Magic, I finally got I got Summer's Growth off and found. No, I didn't, but I did manage to bring back 3. So I think I got Fountain of the Youth off, and then I failed to get Summer's Growth off, and then I didn't get any other spells off this round as well. What I do manage to do is, you can see with the Pathfinders, I do go to town. I kill quite a few of these Myrmidons in there between the Pathfinders and the Heath Hunters. So these are my target now, because the plan is, I did kill the Chariot, and the plan was, as soon as they start coming in, I'm going to rip this unit apart. It's worth a lot of points, worth about 700 points, so that should keep me going into the game. In combat, I don't kill the Hoarder. In fact, I think I kill more of me. Luckily, we draw combat, so I haven't lost. But what it does mean now is I could have a very, very dangerous countercharge from the Myrmidons, which could then overrun into my Pathfinders, which overruns into my other Pathfinders, and it was just like, ugh. So what I managed to do was basically reform like that, so that they're out of arc of the Myrmidons, but they're in arc of the Scourge, and quite frankly, it's far enough away, so even an overrun of 12 won't get it there. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm happy with that. I can live. I can live with this. Cool. Yep, his Scourge goes in and makes it easily. Obviously, they're fearless. Thank you. So that was good. And his Myrmidons have come into the Blade Dancers. So this is going to be it. This is going to be quite interesting because we're both quite attacky units. He's got 5+ Aegis. I've got 6 up, unless I want to take 3+. But this is a chance where I can absolutely wreck this unit. I've got a counter charge with the dragon and the blade and the Dryads there, and. So I'm pretty happy with that. He's also, the only thing now you can start seeing is he's got both Scourges around to my left here, and they're out of arc on my Avatar of Nature, whilst he's still got the Maw, the Hope Harvester, and the Succubus coming down here. So I am concerned about the left. I still haven't been able to reheal my Wild Huntsman. So double Wild Huntsman. I was looking at this going, I think I've got to hit here and get in there, because if I don't, it's going to be slightly problematic for myself. Other than that, in combat, he tries and buffs these. So what I did is I didn't let him have I let him have 3 roll to win because he's rerolling 2s. I didn't let him have rerolled a hit because that was the one where he was hitting me on 4s with Distracting Spear, and I didn't want to make that any easier for him. In shooting, he kills them, but he only gets it down to 1. So yes, I still have a chaff unit, which is what I wanted to do. And even better now, the chaff unit is a single model, so I'm hopefully going to stop one of these Blazing Glories from doing something that I didn't want to do. In combat here, I went for +1 attack because I thought I was going first. I just needed to hit him hard and go for it. In the end, he got me down to 1 model, and I ripped the unit apart. So I can charge in now and deal with it. The only problem is I can't now charge the Avatar in because I've killed too many. He's out of arc, which is really funny. So that was a problem. In my turn, sorry, one thing that did happen is the Scourge, you can see at the top there. Ooh. The Scourge at the top here, so he wins combat, though I do kill the Hoarder. Woo! Kill the Hoarder. The Dryads fail their steadfast check and then run this way, and they get away, which is amazing. In his turn, he then charged, and I ran away a bit more. But he was past the Pathfinders by this point. So it was, oh no, sorry, it was my turn next. So what I did was I charged my dragon in center into the into the Myrmidons. I then moved the Avatar here to threaten the Hope Harvester and stop that charging in, and also threaten the Macan coming around. I blocked one of the Blazing Glories with this one, and I charged the Wild Huntsman into here. Now, what I realised at this point was, because I have no way of healing them, which I didn't really think about. Because what I really wanted to do was I could not leave the Blade Dancers in there. So I had a choice here. I could leave the Blade Dancers in here on their own and hope, and move the dragon over here to cast healing spells on this, or I could concentrate on this area and just make sure I kill them. I chose this because my BSB is in there, and I still wanted to maintain the objective. And looking at it, I've got a Scourge going off one direction, I've got a more of a Khan that I'm not going to get near, and it's not looking promising that I'm going to be killing that many points. So I threw the dragon in there, and I think that was a good move. In combat, he kills the unit, and the dragon whiffs quite a bit. So we only get it down to, so it's 2 of them left by the end. And yeah, other than that, nothing really happens apart from shooting at the Hope Harvester. Put a couple of wounds on. This is his turn, so the big ones you can see is, on my turn, you will see this. There are no Wild Huntsmen there. I did like 1 wound to him, 2 wounds to him maybe. 2 wounds. I don't guess. And then he wipes the unit out. So not only have so I've lost my Wild Huntsman and I failed to chaff now, so now he's going in. He doesn't charge in though because the unit is in a bit of a state. And then these two obviously charge this chaff because he just wanted them out of the way. So he did this weird one. So he charged him off the hill and that into there so that they could be on a flanking maneuver here, whilst charging the succubi through into my avatar, which I was pretty happy with actually. And he got all 3. So I was a bit like, ooh, well, there you go. Otherwise, his Hope Harvest moves to the side to go and shoot at my Pathfinders. And what he did do with this Blazing Glory is he moved it over this way because it was 2 wounds. It didn't have many wounds left. It was either 2 wounds left or 3, maybe 2 wounds left. So he didn't want to cut it near combat. He wanted to move it away just so he could maintain the points. Magic does pretty much nothing, but in shooting, he gets 2 of the Pathfinders off. Not enough for a parity check on a unit of 10. And then in combat, so firstly on the left, my Heath Rider obviously died. On the right, my BSB is alive there, just for the record, he's not dead, so don't panic. But my dragon is now down to 3 wounds, which is interesting. It took a few wounds throughout this combat. But the Blade Dancer BSB is alive, importantly. So what happens in my turn? So I charge both the Avatar just kills enough succubi and wins combat, but obviously they don't break. And then in my turn, my Dryads rally in the top corner. So these guys rally. So the Scourge, if he wants to take their points, has to hurt them, and then I challenge him out because he hasn't killed my champion. And then if I fail a leadership 8 test, I stick because we decided this is going to be the last turn as well. Just because of time, we'd had some big combats where we'd had some discussions. In this magic phase, what I do is I cast. Honestly, how did I get out of the Blazing Glory? I can't remember now, but I got the amazing Blazing Glory. I think it was with Master of Earth in the back here in Magic, and that was the only spell I got off. Otherwise, I shot a load of points into there, and I didn't get it down to 25%. But I have charged the dragon in here, and between these two, I absolutely pretty much do some significant damage to that unit. Yeah, I eat it. Oh yeah, because I had some Dryads in the flank. So we eat the Succubi unit. The Dryads overrun, and then get charged by both the Blazing Glory and the Maw, and then killed. The Scourge does charge into the Dryads, and I do challenge them. And they pass. They pass their leadership 8, discipline 8 leadership check. Well done, Dryads. Good on you. And then he absolutely murders the Dryads, and that's it. I do nothing to him. we didn't do a turn 6, but just because we didn't have time by this point. We could have done one of them, but we couldn't have done two. Um, I think I don't think it's bad. I think my avatar. I think if it had been my turn 6, I'd have gone into the skirt. I'd have gone into Blazing Glory with both of them probably, and then overrun into the Maw. I'd have possibly shot up this Hope Harvester a bit more. Not convinced. Don't know. Either way, um, a reasonable victory. So I managed to get a 13-7 on points, and then that turned into a 16-4. Oh crap! No, right. Just the record, that score in the bottom is correct, and the top is wrong. It was a 16-4 to me. So I won by 6. I got 16 points. Cool. So on game 2, I got a victory. I don't think. So the big thing is, I didn't play the Wild Huntsman very well open up, and then they got shot off by the Hope Harvester, which is bad on me. If I put them further out and just contained him on that side, I think that would have been far better, and I think I would have got a few more points off, or at least killed a Blazing Glory with them. I don't think I'd have got much else, and it would have just bottled him quite much. But I think the big one is I managed to get the Myrmidons and the Succubi, so that is a lot of points there. And then just I did what I was sent to be doing, is just trying to pick up those odd points. Ironically, it wasn't the Scourge that went through my army, but it was the Chariot and well, the Blazing Glories and the Maw that I just couldn't stop. So it's just sheer number of small little things. So lessons. The Druidism is not able to maintain the Blade Dance at the moment. Now, I have played a game since with the new Druidism. I think it's changed. So now you definitely have some significant advantage in this. But Druidism were meh again. I think I put it down to there's no effective way of increasing units' combat output, which is really what I want to do. I mean, Druidism is either defensive, but it's that, and yes, in 20 roots does help, but it's mainly a defensive thing as well, especially with Blade Dancers. So I need to have a think about how I do that. And I think I tested something today that I really, really liked. And I think it performed how I thought it would. So I'm really happy with that. And then I did have a better plan for the Dryads, even though it started well. I then went off and did the Hoarder. I think that was something that probably should have happened anyway. And the use of the Pathfinders for distracting the Scourge, actually that did really well. Between that kept him at bay and allowed me to get on with the game and do what I wanted, really, actually. I'm not sure I played particularly well. I think there were certain bits that I could have done better. I mean, I was a bit loose with the Blade Dancers, and I think I should have protected them better. And then there was and the Wild Huntsman. I just didn't. I had the Wild Huntsman out of position the entire time, and I didn't really think about how I wanted to use them aggressively. I think that'd be a big thing. Yeah. So otherwise, thank you very much for watching the battle report. I hope you enjoy it and hope you have a good weekend. Bye.